Aren't you going to tell us a story? Well, honey, I was thinking about that creative writing assignment Katie has due soon, and was wondering if she should be practicing telling her own stories. Katie? But she doesn't tell stories like you do. That's because my stories don't always have big dragons to fight. See? No dragons. Katie will tell a great story. Trust me. Come on, little brother. Let's do this. Fine. But I reserve the right to have the last say on any storyline. Whatever you say. So, what's this story about? Well, once upon a time, in a faraway land, there was a princess who lived in a beautiful kingdom. Was there a prince? There was a prince. He was the younger brother. Figures. The princess loved the animals in her kingdom, especially the sheep. She would laugh at the sheep as they scampered around, jumping and tumbling on the grass. Her favorite sheep was called Mimsy, whom the princess nicknamed Muttering Mimsy because he would always be bleating quietly to himself. Every day she brought Mimsy fresh straw. A sheep named Mimsy? This story is off to a bad start. Just wait. One day, while the princess was out with the sheep, she noticed a huge shadow. When she looked up, she saw a dragon. Before she could get help, it swooped down and grabbed one of the princess's sheep. The dragon was very big. Excellent. The next day, the dragon came and took 2 more sheep. The princess cried all day, knowing that it was only a matter of time before the dragon took away her whole flock. The king was distraught, trying to please his daughter. Is everyone just going to be sad? Oh, yeah? What would you do? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm taking over this story now. Enter the prince. Eventually, our noble prince became fed up with his sister crying about her sheep and decided to do something. He jumped on his electric motor-powered off-road skateboard and said that he would guard Muttering Mimsy, but he needed 2 things. The first was a special piece of armor sewn out of silver thread, and the second was a bowl of delicious stew. Stew? Why stew? It was the prince's favorite. He ate 2 bowls. The next day, the dragon appeared looking for his snack. It was a big red and yellow creature with sharp horns and even sharper teeth. And it definitely needed to brush more often. The dragon circled around, carefully choosing his sheep. It saw that there was one sheep quietly muttering to itself. Not muttering, Mimsy. Not to worry, sister. The prince zoomed down on his electric-powered motorized off-road skateboard, and he had a huge sword in his hand. The dragon was flying, and its wings made a strong wind. The dragon sent out a huge fireball up in the air, and it rained down ashes. There was even a tornado of fire. A tornado? Really? It was huge. As a battle raged, the sky grew dark and menacing, and a giant storm rolled in. Thunder boomed in the distance, and lightning cracked in the sky. It was like the heavens themselves wanted to set the scene for this battle. Rain poured down in giant sheets, soaking both the prince and the dragon, who was circling Mimsy. It did not look good. The dragon stood high and launched a huge fireball at Mimsy. The prince, who had sworn to guard the poor sheep, jumped in front and blocked the fireball with his shield. His armor was burnt, and he was hurt. The dragon closed in. The prince was trapped. What will happen? Easy. The princess will save the day. The princess, who refused to be left behind, had been watching the whole time. She had made a rope and had eaten 3 bowls of stew. She was ready for battle, and the princess had a plan. The princess ran to the top of a mountain where she saw a huge boulder. She tied the rope around it and pulled hard. The boulder fell down right into a huge puddle of rainwater. Just as the dragon was about to set the prince and Mimsy on fire, it was soaked by the water. Great. Now the prince and poor Mimsy were all wet too. Well, make the prince get up. All right. The prince jumped up, and while the dragon was shaking off the water, jumped on his electric-powered off-road skateboard, which was also waterproof. The prince charged with his sword, but just as he got close, the dragon took to the sky. Was the dragon running away? Well, he was thinking about it, but the dragon saw that Mimsy was unprotected. He swooped down, grabbed the sheep, and flew away before the prince or princess could get him. You know what we have to do now, right, Katie? Oh, yeah. Rescue Mimsy! The princess jumped on the skateboard with her brother, and the two chased after the dragon. The dragon flew to its den, which was built into the side of a volcano. He dropped Mimsy and went to the center of the volcano to relight the fire. The prince and princess quietly snuck into the dragon's den. The princess grabbed Mimsy, and the two fled just as the dragon returned. He's going to be mad. More mad than Mom was after we put the electric teapot in the dishwasher. Don't remind me of that. The dragon was mad. He saw his new sheep running away, and before our heroes could get away, he was already shooting a huge fireball. What now? Well, suddenly, out of nowhere, Mimsy turned and kicked the fireball with her back legs, sending it to the roof. I did not see that coming. The roof collapsed, trapping the dragon inside the volcano for the rest of time. The prince, princess, and Mimsy all made it back to the kingdom and lived happily ever after. The end. Wow. Good story, sis. Good night. Good night, little brother. Can we tell another tomorrow? Sure thing. How did the story go? Well, he's asleep, so pretty good, I guess. Great. You're a natural storyteller, Katie. You look a little tired, too. Not me. I think I'm going to stay up for a while.
Discuss. 1. Why does Ben say, "I did not see that coming"? 2. What do the illustrations at the beginning of this story tell you about Katie?